Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Up the Pilgrims. My name is Damien and I am joined as always by Stedders and by David. Good evening, guys. How are you both doing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
all
good.
good.
Thanks, Amo.
All good. Thank you, Damo. Ready to go for another episode.
Excellent. Of course, yep. And we're going back to the old ways just for now. Obviously, we've done a few episodes. We did one with Graham, of course, and we did one with Steve in Ellender's last time out. So we thought we'd just go back this time and do one on our screens. So let's get started. We've missed a few games since we were last here, and we're going to go back to Halifax Town. It was an away trip which we all, of course, attended, and went down to a 1-0 defeat. But the lads did their best, didn't they, Steaders?
Yeah, there were signs there, weren't there? I thought of what we're going to end up talking about in the latter games for sure, weren't there? I think we played quite well that day, to be quite honest with you. But again, we'll say it in a few of these game roundups. Just couldn't score a goal, could we? I think we did everything bar score. Great periods of pressure though at times in the game, and looked threatening going forward as well. And for a side which, like you say, they're pretty high up in the table, aren't they? I don't know how they're faring right in a minute, but they're doing pretty well for themselves. So, I think 1-0, I think a draw would have been a fair result, to be honest with you, on the day. But yeah, I don't think you could fault the commitment or the effort that day. And like I say, just the signs coming through, wasn't there, that the team was starting to just gel a little bit more and the performances were going to come. But yeah, no, a good travelling army down there. We created a good bit of atmosphere. Pretty poor attendance from the home fans, to be honest with you. A massive stadium with nobody in it. It's hard to make an atmosphere, but we certainly tried our best, didn't we, to get the boys going. And they looked gutted at the end of the game as well. The lads did, to not pick anything up, didn't they, to be honest with you. But I don't think as many Boston fans can say they didn't try the hardest that day. I thought they put a right shift in, to be honest.
Yeah, David.
Yeah, a result like the 1-0 away at Halifax, it's one of the ones that hurt. It hurt probably one of the most of all seasons. It's not like Forest Green or Rochdale where we got thumped 4 or 3-0 at the start. We played really, really well that day, and we didn't come away with anything. And I certainly felt it back on the coach journey back. Yeah, like Tom said, we probably were we were the best we'd probably been up to that moment in time. The signs were there. We were getting stronger. It was a really strong performance against a decent team who were up and around in the playoff places. It was just a shame that we came away with anything. I think if I cast my mind back, it was a few weeks ago now, but Keaton Ward that day played absolutely amazing. He had his full back on toast. I remember him turning inside outside, but turning him inside and outside. But we just couldn't find the final pass and the final shooting opportunity, and we came away with nothing. I think it was a mistake on the right hand side and a decent move by the Halifax man to just put it low and hard in the box, and the Cameron Gregory couldn't do anything about it. And it's just fine margins in this league, as we found out many a time this season. But no, I think we were really, really unlucky not to come away with the Shea without anything on that day. But yeah, it was a decent day out. I think nice new ground ticked off for me. So yeah, it was fun to go with all you guys.
Pitch was awful though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shocking.
I was just going to say the pitch was really bad, wasn't it? It was. They play rugby on it, don't they?
Yeah, they do a lot of things there by the looks of it, don't they? Apart from come out and support their own team, which is just, let's face it, not great, is it? But it was the one good passing move throughout the game, I think, that they scored the goal through. I think it was, like you say, it was fluid down that side. No one could really lay a glove on them, and really, like you say, bottom corner finish. But like you say, I think that was their one decent opportunity in the game. I can't remember Cam making many more saves that game. I don't offhand or anything like that. And like you say, Dave, definitely Keaton Ward deserves a mention for that performance.
I think another thing, is that that was Nicholson's debut back, I believe, as well, and how pivotal he's been in the next few games that we're going to be talking about. It's the start of the long throw missiles into the box, and I'm sure we'll touch on it later. But I think that's been a key reason to the upturn in form, is trying to use these set pieces the best that we can, and we're scoring goals off them now, which is good.
Of course, and there was an awful tackle on Martin Woods as well, wasn't there, in that game? And thankfully, he's not. He wasn't too badly injured. He actually second half, I think, after another bad ball, seemed to happen quite a bit, didn't it, during the game? There's a lot of hard tackles going in, and they seem to be getting away with that quite a bit. I found the Halifax players.
I think the surface didn't help, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, it's sort of, there wasn't much grass on it. It was just like a mud bath, and it was really sticky. And we were actually going up to the game, and the days preceding to it, we were thinking, you know, Halifax, they postponed a lot of games. Would it actually be on? So the ground staff did well to get it on. Should it have probably been on? Probably not. But we were probably at that point in time where, you know, we'd not played football for so many weeks. We would just wanted to get out and get a game on, and we did, and then luckily we didn't come away with anything from that game. But that was you know, the start of when we started actually playing fixtures. You know, because all these for the congestion of fixtures that we got at the end of the season, thanks to all the postponements, it's a bit ridiculous actually. You know, we're the only team, bar Rochdale. We've got the most games out of all the teams, bar Rochdale, and absolutely none of them are our fault. They're all opposing teams. So Halifax did well to get the game on. Should it have probably been on? I don't know, but I think we were just happy to be playing some sort of football. Whether we could play what we wanted to on that surface, I don't know. But you know, we were just happy to get the game on and get another game ticked off in the National League.
Yeah, of course. And then we moved on to the Tuesday night, straight after another long journey for the lads, this time going to AFC Fylde, right up north. And I believe, Tom, you were at that game. David, did you go to the game?
I did not go to the game. I was watching.
Oh, where were you that night?
I was watching another local side in the Football League. Playing Mansfield away. It was quite a win, but you know, I was keeping up with the scores in the away end, and I didn't celebrate any of the goals. Yeah, there's actually a good few seconds of me on Sky Sports where they're all doing the pause now, and I'm just sat there with my arms crossed like this, and all my mates around me. I'm like, all right, Dawson. But let's focus on the real biggest club and the most important club in Lincolnshire, and that's Boston United.
Of course, and of course they went to Fylde and they actually got a victory as well. As I say, Stedders, you did go to the game, didn't you? What can you tell us about it?
It was a very tactful half-term breakaway in Blackpool with the kids. And I suggested to the wife, and she sat next to me, so I've got to be careful what I say here. But I suggested to the wife, you know what? I said, Fylde's beautiful in February. I said, it's lovely. God. You know, Blackpool is lovely in February. I'll take you out for dinner. Oh, look, there's a game on 10 minutes down the road. Oh, look, there it is. And there it is at Fylde. And do you know what the worst part was? I felt awful. I've been ill all week. And honestly, the whole time I was there, I was poorly. And I literally managed to dose myself up for this game. I put about 4 layers on. And I turn up and there's a kid next to me in shorts. Absolutely mad scene. But yeah, we played fantastic that night, to be honest with you. First half, we should have more goals. Jacob Hazel scored for 2 quite early doors, didn't he? And obviously we let him back in with that penalty, but should have had more goals. Should have been 3 or 4, to be honest with you, at half time. But they just got their foothold back in the game. Nice part about Fylde is that one stand. Nothing else is nice about that club, the way it's run or anything like that. You know, and you talk about poor atmospheres. Honestly, I've never been to a football match where they don't get behind the team as much or cheer for the goal or anything like that. There was nothing, absolutely nothing, deadly silence. But I can't remember how many fans of ours went that night. Not a lot. It was under 100, I think. But it wasn't a lot. But madness, absolute crazy. And we sang from minute 1 to minute 90, and it was appreciated by the lads as well, which is fantastic. Dylan Hill ran his heart out like he does. It was just a gutsy, gritty performance, and exactly what we needed from the lads, to be honest with you, just to give us a bit of a boost coming into this fixture congestion. But freezing cold as well, lads. I must say, like I said, I put loads of layers on. I thought, Adamo, even your coat wouldn't have coped with them temperatures, to be honest with you. It was so bolted. It was. I think it was the coldest I've felt at a football match in a very, very long time. We all felt warm come full time, and the 3 points were coming back to Bostonshire, that's for sure.
Of course. And I mean, how did you feel when obviously Fylde got back into the game, 2-1, and I mean, was there, especially you had a whole second half to go, was there a bit of sort of worry from the Boston fans, or?
Yeah, here we go again. We've said a lot around us, as you can imagine. You know what I mean? We've seen this story before. We've written the script many times before. The second half was just a dogfight, and I mean a proper dogfight. They just didn't allow them anything really on our goal. They had a few balls into the box last couple of minutes, but barring that in the half, we were Trojans that night, absolute Trojans and warriors. James Gale came off the bench and did a fantastic job for us as well up top. Holding the ball up for us, so and all that kind of thing. He came on and proved to be a pivotal substitute because Hazel ran his socks off by that point and ran himself into the ground. Sorry, but yeah, you can imagine with so many games that have gone differently for us this season, with having that scoreline, we all thought it was going to be same old story. But no, the lads, they hung on, and it made my last day in Fylde a lot better whilst I was wearing my Boston United shirt, walking around Blackpool. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think a few people did seem to go up there as well and stayed the night, didn't they? I believe it looked like there was a few out. I saw on social media a few people out in Blackpool over the period of the game, and so
apparently Mo Salah was out there as well in Blackpool as well whilst we was there, but I didn't catch him because I'd love to have tried to get him on like a short-term deal, just just to help us for a bit, you know what I mean? But he was seen actually at the pleasure beach, But me and Mo, we're not that close. So if I went up to him and asked him about Boston United, he'd probably think it's America, like Gaza did.
That's it, yeah. And he's going to Massachusetts, yeah, rather than and Graham as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
As everyone seems to think. But no, it was good to get 3 points on the board, wasn't it, David?
Yeah, no, it's nice to know we've won from a winning position and we've not dropped points and we've not buckled. I think that must be one of, a few games I can count on my fingers that we've actually won from a winning position and we've not buckled and we've not folded under the pressure. And it was good, two teams battling at the bottom of the table, a team that's above Boston, and we took points off them. And it's always good getting points off teams in the top 5, top 7, top 10. But the games that you want to win, the ones in the bottom 4, 6, in the bottom 8 even now, they're the ones that are going to boost you the most. So it was good to see Boston picking up points against them, to be perfectly honest. When I saw the Nick Horton penalty go in, I did have that same reaction as everybody else. Oh, here we go again. We're going to concede another. But no, it was good to see that the lads, showed a bit of integrity and a bit of fight to grind out 3 points away in Blackpool.
Yeah, fantastic as well. And they moved on after that. Moved on to Eastleigh at home, at a home game for a change. And unfortunately, we went down at 2-1 in that game. Not the best afternoon, really. Again, the lads tried to dig in, but it just wasn't to be, was it, David?
No, it was a game of few chances, I think, and they absolutely bullied us, I have to say. We weren't ourselves that day, I don't think. This hard-working mentality that Graham tried to put into the squad. I think it might have been fatigue even down to that, but it didn't show up on the day of the Eastleigh game. We got absolutely bullied in the air. The way that they play is absolutely awful. It's much like Tamworth, if you've ever seen it. I couldn't watch that every week. At least we try and play a little bit on the floor, not too much nowadays, but a little bit on the floor. And they just made the most of their chances. They're a good side. They're very good at what they do. I have to say, I had to point out, I was on commentary for this fixture with Tom, actually, and I pointed out their centre half, Ludwig Francelet. He must have been about 6'5". His hair was beautiful. His boots were beautiful. And he didn't put a foot wrong the whole game. He won everything in the air. He had Jacob Hazel and Jimmy Knowles on toast. You couldn't do anything against them. And that's just credit to Eastleigh because, they're a real decent side. They're no mugs. They're up in 10th for a reason. But, we definitely got outclassed that day, especially out muscled. I think that's probably the word to describe. If you ask me one word, it'd probably be out muscled for the performance against Eastleigh.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, very similar to David. Not very much I can add to that. apart from the fact that I was still getting over my flu at this point, and my voice got lost completely on commentary. So David did a lot of leads
been a
for
little
it.
bit.
And let's face it, there wasn't a lot to commentate on in time. It was such a poor game. Probably I would go up there as one of the poorest of the season, to be honest with you, what I've seen. Oh, it was so bad. It was just not a spectacle at all. Anybody wanted to come in for total football that day, forget about it. Absolutely, there was nothing in the game whatsoever to make us think that we've turned the corner. And it's that inconsistency of performances, isn't it? You come off a good win at Fylde, you think easily Saturday, it's time to grab it by the scruff of the neck. Let's go again, boys. Then we come up and perform like that. And the lads looked gutted at full time as well, didn't they? And of course, it was that the game where all the 5 changes were made at half time.
That's it. Yes, it was.
Something like that, weren't it? So obviously Graham was well impressed with the first half. No, but I think the changes actually killed us, to be honest with you. He wanted a reaction from the substitutes. It made no difference. Even making that many subs, you'd expect some kind of reaction from that. It actually made the game no more of a spectacle or made us look any better. We deserved what we got that day, which was absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. I didn't know whether half the substitutions was because obviously how bad the first half was, or obviously he was thinking we had another game. Well, we were due to have another game on the Tuesday night, which obviously was called off, and whether he was trying to rest players at the same time. But like you said, it just didn't seem to work that second half. Nothing seemed to change. We were just as poor in the second half as we were in the first half, and we went down to defeat once again, which doesn't always, is not good. Home form this season's just been so poor, hasn't it? Just every game we just can't seem to pick up that them wins at home, can we? What do you reckon, Tom?
Just seems, again, I think we spoke about it in previous pods before as well. Just seems like a different mentality away from home, doesn't it? It just seems like the pressure of the home fixture just doesn't mean we can get over the line. I'm praying that we've got 4 away now. I think after this one, haven't we? This podcast, we've got 4. What kind of 4 and what a massive 4 games this is going to turn out to be in our season, by the way. But yeah, I don't know what it is about the home form. Just can't get to 3 points. I think our last win was York, wasn't it, at home? Which was a fantastic win. But I'd love to have seen us just build on that and try and get that going. But like you said, you mentioned about the Wealdstone game getting postponed again. I think the Raiders chucking water on their pitch and he's frightened of us 3, to be honest with you. So we'll get there eventually. But that now home and away for them, it's massive, isn't it? It's huge. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but that could be like literally make or break our season. But yeah, it's just want a bit of consistency, lads. That's all we want. I think Graham, he's exactly the same whenever you listen to him on the interviews, isn't he? He's trying to get the consistency out of them. I mean, we've got a few undefeated now, haven't we? We've got a few undefeated now,
That's right.
Which is positive. But like you say, what would do for a home win?
Just gets close and then it gets taken away from you. It's just unbelievable. But we've got Wealdstone on the 1st of April Fool's Day.
It's ridiculous.
What does that tell you?
And that's the first time we're going to play them, isn't it?
It's wild.
It is. We've got the return leg on Good Friday, the 18th of April.
That's crazy. we haven't played them, and it was till April in the season.
Yeah.
Come on. That just tells you how poor their standard of pitch is, or not. Who knows? They could be playing it into their favour. Are they running scared? We'll find out soon enough. We'll find out
will
soon
do.
enough, won't we?
Very much so. So we're going into March now, and the 1st of March we played Dagenham and Redbridge away. Finally got another away victory. David, you were there. Tell us about it. How did it go?
My memory's a bit fuzzy because I had a few beverages that day, but it was one of the best away days I've had with Boston United in a long, long time. That's what was South Shields away last year. That's how highly I rank this. But the bedsheet banner was out with Dagenham Laugh of Honour champions from the get-go. the boys were just absolutely amazing, especially the fans. You know, going down to that early goal from so poor, honestly. The ball just comes over the top of Richards and it's headed in. And you think, we'd controlled the first few minutes and it's just one little flash down the wing, sticks it in the box, and we concede again. But no, I think from that moment on, we were the better team by far. Dagenham had 0 to none chances from that point onwards. And, you know, the fans created a good atmosphere. There's a few of them that got chucked out in a sort of old school style feeling to a game in London. Yeah, it was a great day out. And for the boys to get 3 points, especially a good goal by Hazel from Jimmy Knowles. Good work by Jimmy Knowles down the left wing. He probably created it. He did more than Hazel did. Hazel just applied that striker's finish that we know he's all got. And then the second goal, my word, J-Ro.
What a great goal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's on behind Tom right now. What a strike. Oh, I just when you see it going off the bar and then bounce up into the top of the net, because most of the time, knowing our luck, I was expecting that to come straight back out again. But no, for once, we got a bit lucky and it went in, and the scenes in that away end from there on out was amazing. Then to seal the deal, even though I don't really like it as much, I have to say, Adam Marriott, you've proved me wrong recently. I'll eat my words. I will. And, you know, I'm enough to accept that. You're impressing me, and keep doing what you're doing, mate. Because if you keep doing what you're doing, you know, these little impact substitutions you're having, we're scoring goals from them, winning games. We didn't win in our last match, but you still made a positive impact. And I think at one point in the season, you guys can agree with me, he wasn't making the best of impact, but something's changed.
He wasn't.
He's the kind of guy that, you know, when we're pushing for a goal in these 90th minutes, you need the ball to drop to someone like Marriott because he can finish it off. And I'm shocked to say, but, you know, he's really improved recently, and, you know, fair play to him. And he's really stepped up his game these past few weeks. And what a finish it was to make it 3-1 in front of the Boston fans. And just tops a great day out in London for me. And it was a good bus journey home. Let's say that.
Oh, I can imagine. But yeah, I mean, going back to Adam Marriott, I mean, you know, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today on the podcast, you know, because he's been absolutely, you know, great the last few weeks, probably, you know, the last month or two. He just seems to have turned things around. You know, we were saying probably late last year, oh, you know, he's kind of like a waste of space in the team. He's not bringing anything to the team, you know, but all of a sudden, I mean, he's showing his experience, isn't he? And that's what the team needs. I mean, even, you know, we're going to go on to it very shortly, the Oldham game, but when he came on against Oldham, you know, he had a few good little touches in that game. And yeah, as I say, he's looking a lot better. You know, I think his confidence has grown a bit. And I mean, do you think he's one of these players we could look at starting, Tom?
He's certainly staking his claim, isn't he? I mean, we all, like you say, probably writ him off a bit too early in the season, to be honest with you. But the one thing that he said about he's showing his professionalism, and that's exactly what he's doing. And not just that, but he's influencing games. He's influencing games. He's changing games for us now when he comes off that bench, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think that the Hazel and Knowles partnership is fantastic. Of course, I love that partnership. Marriott's knocking on the door now. Why not give Marriott and Hazel a go? A lot of people will probably say the same thing. I mean, Hayes at the minute is still scoring goals, so you can't really. I mean, can you play Marriott and Hazel together? Would it be more of a Knowles and Marriott together? I'm not so sure. But the one thing he's doing is giving the manager food for thought, and he's influencing games. Like I say, they are now turning deficits into draws. They're now turning nothing into points. And as long as he's doing that, he can stay doing exactly what he's doing, as far as I'm concerned. He's a good weapon to have. Like you said, show some definitely touches. I think match fitness probably got him at the start of the season a little bit, maybe a little bit. But I think he's just starting to look a bit more sharper now, looking like he wants it a bit more. I think I don't know if I want to say it, but I don't know if he's resigned to the fact that he is now going to be an impact sub. If that's the way he's got to take it, and that's the way he's got to approach these games, and he's happy with that, then fantastic. But we would take it all day if he's going to come off the bench and do what he did at Dagenham.
Yeah.
Or what he did yesterday, which we'll speak about.
Yeah.
Because them two substitutions again turned that game yesterday. 100%.
Yep.
100%.
They did.
When their two looked tired, they came on. They gave a different dimension, and everything came through them two. Came through Gale and Mario. Everything good and positive in that last part of that game
Yeah.
came through them too. So credit to Adam Marriott. Keep doing what you're doing, mate. We love you really.
We do. And going to quickly talk about the Oldham game last Tuesday at home. A much different game compared to the one at Boundary Park earlier in the season. A 4-0 defeat earlier in the season there, but this time 0-0 draw. Oldham just a complete shadow of their former selves. They just didn't look. I mean, they're hanging on in the playoffs somehow. Oldham Athletic are, but and I mean, obviously they're a big club. I would say back in when we played them and we lost 4-0. You could tell they were a league team. They had a big squad, which they've still got a big squad, but everything was falling for them at the time. But last Tuesday, they just struggled. Couldn't create too many chances. Again, Boston played absolutely fantastic. And David, I mean, as I say, it was, Boston were unlucky not to win the game, and obviously the goal disallowed as well.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a minute. I wasn't so sure on that. But I have to say, Donaghy, our former goalkeeper that played about 4 games for us, didn't look anything special. He won the game. He drew the game for them. He got them that point solely. Oldham were
Yeah.
not that night. He made a couple of absolutely cracking saves. And we go on to the goal. I don't know. It's a hard one to pick. I've not really looked into it as far as I should have, but I was on commentary for this fixture. And, the way that the lino put his flag up in the speed and the confidence, I just assumed he was by looking at it. And I think I said offside on the commentary. And it took me to the end of the game to realise, hold on, wait, he might actually be on. And it's a shame, really, because, look at the position that we're in. Those 2 points could come vital again, come the end of the season. It's a shame that we have to talk about the referees and how they're influencing our game. Because there shouldn't be a separate team. There should be, somebody that should be there to support the game being played. And it's a shame to know that decision could have really big ramifications for us at the end of the season. And that's really the only talking point from that game. It was a game of few chances, but the one that we did put in, whether or not it should have been counted or not, is the real question, the real big dilemma.
Yeah, of course. And Graham Coughlin was adamant that it should have been a goal and it should have counted, and obviously he's blaming the referee. And I mean, it's going on to yesterday as well. Obviously, played Woking yesterday at home, a 2-2 draw. ROWE with 2 goals, but I mean, huge parts of the game again. The referee was the talking point. Not great decisions, were they, Tom?
No, and I think I'm just going to touch back to that Oldham decision as well. It was half like he gave that offside without. Do you know what I mean? Like as an instinct thing rather than like you said, David. It was put up with like a lot of clarity and a lot of definite. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a half little go at it and a little go at it and a little go at it. It was like bang, he's offside. And when you look back on it, it's such a poor decision, isn't it? It's such a poor decision to give for us. And that's just our luck at the minute, isn't it? You know what I mean? Then, like you say, the 3 were there to be taken. And then we talk about yesterday's decision, like you said, the referee yesterday, who I said, and David will put my hand up, and I said at half time, he's having a good game, isn't he? half time, he was having a good game. 45
it wasn't bad, yeah.
Great. Second half, absolutely awful. I couldn't believe it. Absolute contrast in styles. And from the referee's performance, first half, he was all right. He get a bit both ways, controlled
He
it.
did.
Didn't really notice him much. Half, we noticed him far too much, and then we ended up talking about him again, rather than the 2 fantastic goals from the man behind me again that got us out of trouble. We're talking about referees, and I hate talking about them as well, because without them, we don't have a game. But with them, we need some help. We need. There's got to be something done about this. I mean, that we will touch on the goalkeeper as well, but we talk about the goalkeeper situation yesterday, where the substitute basically gets told from, it's quite funny, the bench.
Yeah.
So the bench goes to the substitute and goes, tell him to go down. So the
Mm-hmm.
bench then substitute tells the goalkeeper, go down. All of a sudden, ball comes to him. It's like I've been shot. He goes down, doesn't he? And it's like,
He did.
so, but if that's, I get it. People saying on social media are completely right. If that's Boston, we're in the ascendancy, we would do exactly the same.
Mhm.
It's part and parcel of this game, folks, and unfortunately, we've got to live by it. But it was absolutely fine to get up and make that diving save to the bottom right-hand corner to keep us. How did he tip that one out there? I don't know. That one that he tipped over the bar. If you look at, I mean, I watch, big shout out to James Lovelace, Pitchside Pilgrim, who does a fantastic job every week. If you've not seen it, go back and watch it this week. That one he tips up and over the bar. Ridiculous save from Jaskalainen. He should have no. It reminds me a little bit, and only a smidge, because it's not as good as Marcus Dewhurst away at Kidderminster. A very, very smidge of it. It had the same kind of feel to it, but it was right down in that corner. But let's stop talking about referees and start talking about players and games and results, please. They don't need to be the limelight. If any referee comes out to be the biggest talking point of the game, it means that there's been something wrong in the game, doesn't it? Because really, he should just be in the background.
That is very true. And just talking quickly of Jaskalainen, was his father the ex-Bolton player, I believe, and who was a goalkeeper as well, and quite a good goalkeeper, if I remember, as well. So in his days, so yeah. So son obviously taking after his father. So and he made some good saves yesterday. You know, he definitely kept them in the game at times. You know, it was. I mean, I saw a bit today, and it had that in the play overall, Boston had 51% of the play, and Woking had 49% of the play. And I'm thinking, to be honest, I actually thought Boston would have had a lot more, and Woking would have had a lot less, especially of that second half display. But then maybe the keeper holding onto the ball moves the possession up a bit. So that's the only thing I could think of. But I mean, again, it's we played well. I mean, David, what was your thoughts on the game yesterday?
Yeah, another game where I thought we played really well, and we couldn't come away with the points. Thanks to Jaskalainen, and Tom touched on it. Bloody hell! I was actually shocked when he made that save down in the bottom left-hand corner. That was ridiculous. Bit like Marcus Dewhurst. Why does it seem that every goalkeeper has to play like so good when they play Boston? Can't they do a Coverland and let a few in, please? If my health was a bit better. Please, just why do they always turn up and have absolute worldy games? Marcus Dewhurst. We had like 4.0 expected goals or something stupid like that, the highest of all season, and we can only get a draw because he saves a penalty, he saves a Dan Mooney rebound, he makes about 5 other good worldy saves. It's ridiculous. Is that why we're down where we are? Because teams just seem to, goalkeepers are playing well and we're conceding goals from silly areas. And conceding goals from silly areas, Jesus Christ. Talk to me about Brad Nicholson yesterday. Oh, the second goal was so poor. We knew from last season that Brad Nicholson had these mistakes in his locker, and you could see the one
time he didn't head the ball yesterday in 90 minutes. Time he needed to head the ball, because if you watch it back again or clear his lines, that second goal, as David said, it's just killed, isn't it? And he looked gutted, didn't he? He did look gutted after the goal.
But then you can also talk about the throw-in. Is the throw-in, and we scored off the throw-in. So know, it's sort of you get some and you give some. Yeah, it's exactly the thing to talk about. Like we said last year, he's got a mistake in him, and Scunthorpe said he's got a mistake in him, and we've just seen another one there. It's a shame, really, because the crowd. We were in the ascendancy for the majority of that second half. I listened to Ardley's interview, and he was like, that's probably the best performance we've had away from home this season, and the best performance of all, actually, for Woking to battle out and get that point away from home. And it was such a shame, because we were really, really knocking on that door. We were kicking it. We were nearly through. And then we just drop an absolute howler. And Effiong, once he's running through, he was like a train. You weren't going to stop him. and he just finishes it near post with all his experience and ability. And yeah, we did well though, J-Rowe. No matter how, I don't know how it went in the end, but it was just a good finish. It got tapped in. I think it came off a Woken body and went in, but nobody really cared, and we rescued a point in the 90th minute. And yeah, it's just talking a little bit about and giving us a little bit of momentum, really. You know, you could argue that momentum comes from winning games, but you know, we're 3 unbeaten now. We've not been 3 unbeaten all season. It's just about going on and trying to replicate it and going on to Yeovil. Hopefully, if we stay unbeaten there, that's 4, and keep building, keep picking up these little points here and there, and you never know what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Graham's experience is going to have to really come in now, because obviously we've got 4 away games, you know, and it's not like being in the National League North where, you know, you're just going up the country to these other little clubs. You know, you're traveling, you know, all the way down to Yeovil. I mean, on Tuesday night, what, a 4.5 hour journey there, and then, you know, after back again. You know, then he's got to prepare the lads for Saturday with another long journey, and it just keeps going. And then next Tuesday and Saturday again, it's just going to be, you know, they're really going to have to look after themselves now for the next few games. But I mean, going on to yesterday, just going back to yesterday, and I mean, it just seems to be a typical Boston season. You know, we got ourselves back into the game. Everyone's like, yes, you know, and then we're sort of going on to win the game, looking like we're going to win the game, and then all of a sudden we concede again. And I don't know, you just felt in the stadium, everyone's just like, oh, what do we have to do? You know, what do we have to do here? You know, you're 2-1 down again after all that fight of getting us in the game. But I say the players were fantastic. You know, they showed willing. They kept battling, and I say J-Rowe got that second goal as well in the 92nd minute, which, you know, somehow managed to get us a point and, you know, obviously move on. But I mean, we've definitely got a fighting spirit now, haven't we, Tom?
Yeah, it'd been a travesty to get nothing from that game yesterday, wouldn't it? I think I put that on social media. It would have been. If we'd have got nothing from that, would have been such a killer blow. The fact we've come from 1-0 and 2-1 down as well, that's the positives from it, isn't it? We've come from behind twice in a game to pick something out of it, albeit in Lee Thompson time, I'll call it, 90 plus minutes, because he used to score loads of goals for us then. But yeah, like you say, we're showing a bit, aren't we? We're giving it, we're making a fist of it a bit now, aren't we? But you mentioned that these 4 games are huge. A lot of miles in there to pick points up from. And I mean, anything from Yeovil, I think, great. Braintree, winnable game. Winnable game. If we want to go over there, if we want to do anything, got to be looking at winning that game on next Saturday. That's got to be one you've got to be looking at. The Rochdale is going to be a very tough game. It's going to be a tough game on a Tuesday night to go over there, especially after a Saturday again. And then the following one's Hartlepool, isn't it? Is that right?
That's right, Hartlepool, yes.
Long journey, but good memories for an FA Cup game up there when we drew, I think it was 0-0 up there, and brought them back for a replay last time we played up there at Victoria Park. So I'm really looking forward to that journey and doing that one again for the memories more than anything. But yeah, you know, what we say in points tally, gents, what you want out of the next 4?
Oh, David.
Yeah, I'll go first, David. Don't you worry.
You go first.
I don't know. It's going to be a lot. If we want to keep the hope alive and the dream alive of staying in this division, it's going to take a lot. Probably you're looking at 50 points to stay up. What, we 28, something like that? 29
28
now?
We are 28 we're at now, yeah.
It's going to take a lot. You're probably looking at 2 wins out the next 4. And
got to be, I think.
2 wins a draw, yeah.
I think 7 out the next. Then
I'm thinking 7 actually. I was thinking 7.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of. I don't know what targets I'll have personally, but I would have to say you're gonna have to win 2 of them next 4 for my liking to give us any chance. But then we've got them blockbuster games coming up against everybody around us again, haven't we? So
I'll never stop.
I don't think my heart can take this, to be honest with you. I think I'm you know, I might come down with a pulmonary embolism by the end of the season, to be honest with you, which won't be great for anybody, because yeah, it's going to be so interesting to see how it all pans out, and I'm sure all Boston fans are feeling the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just gonna be. There's just gonna be so much to fight for. And I mean, it changes each week, doesn't it? It's like one week you're thinking, oh, we're not gonna do it now, and then next week, oh, we won, or we got some points. Okay, maybe we will. And it's just so up and down at the moment, isn't it? It's just absolutely crazy. But
And
I
nobody,
mean, I'm
nobody.
really.
Sorry, Damo. Yeah, nobody won
That's
from
right.
around us. Yesterday as well, isn't it? You know what I mean?
No.
That's the other thing. Nobody picked up anything. So yes, I know we only got one. Still have had none, along with
Yeah,
everybody else. So we've got one.
that's a point
Nothing,
gained.
folks. It is. It's better than nothing, because if we'd have come away with nothing yesterday, we'd have been exactly the same as everybody else around us. At least we're starting to get them. At least we're starting to pick these little ones up, aren't we? You know, which is more
Yeah.
than what could be said for some teams down there that are in a barren run of form. So we just got to just keep chipping away, chipping away, chipping away, and like David said, just pick them up here and there, and just see where it goes. You know, it's whole season, isn't it?
That's it. Exactly. So, just want to talk though about a few different bits that that I've noticed really, and I mean obviously J Rowe is one of them, having a brilliant year so far. To be fair, 2025. What's that? 5 goals, I believe, this year alone. Um, should we stick him up front, David?
Uh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You know, I think the way that Graham likes to play his football with the fullbacks, you know, they're so involved. Cameron Green knocking the ball into J Rowe. That's mostly what happens. You know, J Rowe comes in the back post, Cameron Green puts a cross in it, and they're so pivotal, up and down, bombing all game. They work so hard, and they're so important for the way that Graham wants to play. And J Rowe's just really, really benefiting from the system that he's playing in at the moment. He's getting up here and there with some goals, and yeah, it's going to help his tally. He's definitely got some eyes on him, though. Definitely, 100%. I have no doubt that that failed trial, or whatever we heard, the rumours of a failed trial in the football league. I imagine he'll be off back there next year, which is a shame, but he deserves it because he's been absolutely quality this season. He might win Player of the Season for 2 seasons running. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and we were talking about Adam Marriott earlier. Well, first of all, Tom, what's your take on J Rowe?
Not a lot really to add to what David said. Like David said, it was very interesting in the summer that he went around the houses and couldn't get any other deals, so he came back to Boston. But we're now reaping the
Oh,
rewards from what we're getting, aren't we? You know, like it's done it perfectly. He fits into a Cochrane style of play, doesn't he? He really is getting that side, beating his man. To be honest with you, I will be totally honest. I'm sorry, Jay, if you're watching as well. First 45 minutes yesterday, I didn't think it was that great. He gave the ball away a lot. He didn't look his own.
he did.
He didn't look his own self in the first half at all yesterday. But I don't know what clicked at half time or what he drank or what he ate. But all of a sudden, second 45, couldn't put a foot wrong. But that's the kind of player he is, isn't he? Sometimes he can be absolute stellar. And but at the minute he's just driving us forward, isn't he? And you know, he's pulling us through games at the moment. You know, he's got to be up there for contender of player of the season for sure. And if we see him again in a Boston shirt next season, who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I was going to mention, of course, about Adam Marriott doing well at the moment, coming on, playing that bit part, and I'm thinking maybe could they change it up front, change it around a bit? I mean, obviously, you're always seeing Hazel and um, Knowles coming off for Gale and Marriott. I mean, personally, for me, I thought yesterday it was the best game that I've seen Gale play for myself. He had a few really good touches yesterday. Worked really hard. Obviously, I think you said the Fylde game, Tom, that he played really well. But I mean, do you think that maybe we could change it about a bit? Maybe see Marriott and Knowles, or Gale and Hazel, or sort of change it about a bit. Maybe, do you think it could work, Tom?
Um, Interesting to say that. I don't know if a Gale and Hazel partnership will work because I think they're too much the same player. I think you've got to put
Hmm.
one in or the other. Jimmy Knowles looks a bit short of match fitness. To be well, I certainly
Yeah.
think so. At the start of the loan, I think that first half of the season where he's not got many minutes for Accrington is starting to show a little bit. He's a fantastic worker. We know that. He's got some assists to his name. God, does he need another goal for us now, though? He could really do with just knocking one in off his arm, well, not his arm, but his shoulder,
Yeah.
or his forehead, or something like that, or off the top of his head into the roof of the net, or something like really scruffy goal.
Yeah.
Just to get his confidence going. He's a confidence player, Jimmy, isn't he? And we're not playing in the National League North anymore. We're playing in the National League. And I think, like you say, sometimes he just seems like he does run all day, though. He does. You cannot deny the work ethic of the lad.
No.
But Marriott's knocking on the door for me. I think Marriott is knocking on that door. Marriott and Hazel, could it work? I think I'd probably be more to go for a Marriott and Knowles partnership personally.
Yeah.
I don't know because I don't know if Marriott and Hazel could do that together. Maybe they can. Don't know how they would gel because we've never seen it. This is the point. If we're not, and but we want to see it as well, gents. With these pivotal games coming up, this is the catch-22.
Well, that's the thing.
What do you do at the minute? You'd love to change it, but no offense, if we're going to change it on Yeovil and then it doesn't work out, what's the first thing people are going to say?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's right and what's wrong, I'm not sure. I'm sure David's got a good view on it as well, though.
Yeah, David.
Personally, I don't think we're really going to get a choice in the matter. The amount of games that are coming up so thick and fast. Was it like 9 or something ridiculous in March? I think we're going to have to see everybody playing, even the ones that have come in and not really done much. Ollie Green, at the moment, he's just sat on the bench collecting his money. What a weird signing. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I'll focus on the Strike partnership in a second. I think we're going to have to see everybody up paired with everybody. Hazel and Gale up top, they're probably two the same. So bar that, you could probably mix and swap about. Knowles and Marriott, I'm not too sure on. I think it'll probably either be Hazel and Marriott or Gale or Knowles or Gale or, everybody. It's hard to explain because there's about 10 different ones. So I'm not going to run through them all. I think that Hazel and Gale are very similar players who are very physical based. I don't think you play without one of those two at any time, to be honest. The way that they work and they ship the ball on and they win the headers and they win the battles, I think the way that Coughlin wants to play, one of those two will be starting at all time. And Marriott just kind of links the play a bit more than Knowles. I think Knowles is just more of an out-and-out goal scorer, but Marriott's a bit more of a poacher and he likes to pass the ball. He used to play in the 10. So, he likes to sit behind that striker and run onto the balls. And he did that yesterday. And, he brought Jay Rowe into play with a few passes. He received the ball and played it out wide. And I think Marriott just kind of links it all together a bit more. Jimmy Knowles is more of a threat, I think, running forwards and towards goal. But Marriott's better when we're trying to knock the ball out and bring people into play. So they're all good at different things. I think we're going to have to see a few rotations of them, and a few different, people coming in and filling in different gaps. Because with the fixture congestion, they're probably going to have to do that. But it's up to Graham how he wants to do it, and as long as it gets points, I'm not complaining.
Exactly, and I just want to talk about Jacob Hazel because it's a very mixed feeling I get amongst supporters. I mean, where I am in the ground, there's a lot of people around me that are definitely 100% not Jacob Hazel fans. Always, having a go at him. It's always his fault. He goes down a lot. Yesterday as well, you could tell the shirt tugging, from the Woking players on him a few times. But I mean, Steaders, what's your take on Jacob Hazel?
He is Marmite, isn't he? You either love him or you hate him. He is 100% that. You either love him on your toast or you chuck it in the bin at the first given opportunity. I love it. I am a Jacob Hazel fan, and there's a reason for this because he is old school. He is old school. He brings an old school feel to the game. The old number 9. He's in the rest here from the minute 1. He's out there players. They know within a game when they're playing against him, don't they? Do you know what I mean? He must be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not Jake Wright level because Jake Wright was different level, and he could play anybody and get a penalty off him. I reckon he
Yeah.
could. I reckon he could show a magician a card trick. Old Jake Wright could. You know what I mean? I think he's that kind of guy, wasn't he? He was unbelievable at the game. But I love the Jacob Hazel style. He's old school, and that's what I love about it. And he's got a little bit of arrogance about him as well. He's got a bit of bravado. What's a team without a little bit of that? You know what I mean? You take that out of the team, and you take him out of the team. It doesn't leave a little bit of that, like I say, a little bit of bravado and a bit of arrogance, and I like that a little bit in a team. You know, yes, you know, but for T, he never will be because you know we're all opinions of him. But I love him. I love him at our club. I'd hate to play against him. There's a reason why Scarborough fans hate him. There's a reason why Darlington fans didn't want to get rid of him. They all said, you know, and thanks again. It's again. Well, I think we mentioned it before, don't we? Josh Gowling, your best bit of business you did to Darlington was to let us buy him and let us in for him because I think it's you know how many what is he on now? Is he on 10?
I believe so. Is it 10 or 11 now? Yeah,
10 or 11 double figures for the season.
Yeah.
Like him or not, the facts don't lie, do they?
No, that's very true. But I mean, do you think obviously he's having a lot of fouls on him now? He's being brought down in the area several times, and the referee. Do you think the referees have caught on to him now though? Because he's just not getting, you know, the results from the referee. Is he? He's not getting the free kicks anymore, David?
Yeah, he used to be properly in the ref's ear, winding him up all game, and he still doesn't stop it now. But you know, I think it has been found out a little bit, and he's a bit known for what he does. He's got a bit of a reputation, let's say, for running, calling around on the floor and falling over and shouting at people and geeing people up, you know. But that's Jacob Hazel, and Jacob Hazel's not going to change whether you like it or not. That's his personality, and that's how he's built his career. You know, I think it's incredible, really, for a striker, really, that's only been prolific in the Northern Premier League, not really had the best of seasons, maybe one season at Darlington, to come up into the National League, us rely on him and him getting double figures. I think that's insane and mental. But I think it's him being a wind-up merchant is part and parcel of his thing, and that's one of the reasons why he's scoring so many goals. It's just his personality, and you know, you take the personality away, he's probably a bang average striker. But you know, he gives us opportunities in games. We win penalties, not as many penalties as we should have this season. We've only won 2. By the way, that's ridiculous. How the hell we've only won 2 penalties by March is insane. Maybe that's the least amount of box entry. Maybe that's due to the fact that we don't make many entries into the boxes in games, or as many as we used to in National North. But you know, Hazel's just good at what he does, and you know, whether you like it or not, he scores goals, and that's the thing. You know, I couldn't really care less if he's a prima donna or you know he's the quietest lad in the changing room. If you play well and you play for the shirt and you play for the badge and you know what the club means to the fans and you display that passion on the pitch, you know, and you're scoring goals and he's helping get results, you keep doing what you're doing, Jacob, because you know people are always going to not like you or love you in some cases. But no, just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll help this club out really, really well.
Exactly. While you're a Boston United player, Jacob, keep doing what you're doing, and we love you here on Up the Pilgrims.
Mm-hmm.
So, one player that you did that you covered earlier, David, that I was going to talk about is Ollie Green. Obviously, we signed him in January, was it? I know he was apparently short of fitness, but he's appeared on the bench 2 or 3 times, I believe, but hasn't actually made an appearance yet. Hasn't actually come on. I mean, Steaders, have you heard anything? Is there any news or anything?
Didn't even make the squad yesterday, let alone get on a subs bench. Very bizarre, very bizarre. Has he come in to clean Martin Woods' boots? I'm not sure. Just odd. It's just all very strange, isn't it? I wonder if
it is.
You know, I hope he's on a pay-as-you-play contract, because if not, he's rinsing us. We'll have to wait and see on that, won't we? Very odd, but like you say, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Is it a mentality thing? Has the kid had that little game time that he needs this amount of time to come back. And then we're starting getting injuries back now as well, aren't we? So he's going to struggle to get into that midfield. And then I will mention one player as well a little bit. Jordan Richards has come into his own again these last 3 games, I think, personally.
He has, actually.
And been fantastic for us. Jordan Richards of old, he broke up that pay, proper dogged. That's what he does best. Ollie Green's going to struggle to make this side at the minute. I know we're second bottom and we're talking like it's a bread and butter 11, but it seems like Graham has his 11 now a little bit, doesn't it? We've not made, unchanged sides for a few games. Doesn't happen, does it? So he's starting to find his niche a little bit about what he likes, doesn't he? But to sign this lad from up Scotland and not play him is very bizarre. I'd love to know what's going on and update, but I've got nothing for you folks. Sorry.
No, David, heard anything?
I haven't heard anything, and it's weird. I think it's ridiculous. How and why we've signed a player to not play any minutes. I don't know. I'm sort of lost for words, because why would you try and do that? Maybe we've been sold a little bit of a dream here. Maybe he's it seems a bit better than he actually was, or the situation that he was in. Football agents have a lot of power these days, and maybe he was selling Boston a bit. He sold us a little bit, and we've paid the ramifications of that. It's so odd, really, really odd, and frankly quite frustrating, because that money could be used elsewhere. And by the looks of it, he just sat there picking up a wage for not doing a lot. I don't know if you can class kicking a ball around with the mascots before the game as a lot, but it's so frustrating. I'd rather that money be spent elsewhere, and I can think of so many other opportunities and things that we could spend the money on. But no, we had to go and sign a player that we knew wasn't going to be fit for a few weeks, and we were told it was going to be a few weeks, and it's been over a month and a bit now, and he's still not got a single minute on the pitch. Not even a little 10-minute cameo, a single minute on a football pitch. Ridiculous.
It's bizarre. It's a bizarre situation. Having a quick look at the injury situation. I'm going by the programme from yesterday's game at Woking. Michael Bostwick apparently is completing pitch-based rehab work. So that's sounding fairly good news, I think. So he might be back in soon.
Does he play?
Yeah.
You cannot drop Zach Mills at the minute, albeit
no.
he did probably a little bit of fault for the first yesterday. Connor Keel's been unbelievable coming in.
He's been fantastic.
At the minute, Bostwick doesn't get in my side. He doesn't get in my 11. You guys think, but he just doesn't play at the moment, unfortunately. I know he's your captain, but go down with another injury. Does a Woodsy and comes back for a game or two and goes off again for 4 games. Again, a great scenario to have. Don't get me wrong, but I just can't see him dropping either of them 2 centre halves. I don't know what you guys think.
I think he'd have to. I think a place on the bench maybe. If he's lucky, but I think he might be even struggling there just at the moment. Obviously, age isn't on his side. He's had this injury, like you say. You don't want him to rush it and get injured again. Obviously, it's a bit like Martin Woods, isn't it? At the moment, he's well into the wrong side of 30. Nearly 40. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. David, what do you reckon?
I reckon he's doing some overtime at Tesco's. But really, the thing is with me, he's probably going to have to come into play. I mentioned it previously. The fixtures that we've got, the scrap that we're in for, that we're going to have to show a lot of fight in these next few weeks. I think he's going to have to come in. He's going to have to play well and hit the ground running and be the Michael Bostwick of old. The big tackles, the yellow cards every game, the big headers. He needs to, just show a little bit of fight. And I think that's what Boston need. We've shown a little bit, but Bostwick is a scrapper. He's a fighter, and he will not let anybody get within, 2 or 3 yards of goal without either winning the ball back, tackling them, being beaten for pace, or he ends up fouling them instead. So either way that he does it, and he will stop them eventually. He will get you Michael Boswick, he will hunt you down.
Yeah.
And no, he's
He
probably
will
got to
find you.
Yeah, he will. He will. National League North attackers, especially Wealdstone's attackers in the games that are coming up. He's coming for you, Michael Boswick. Watch this. He won't even play now for the rest of the season. Right now.
But a bit of news off the pitch now, and from the programme a few weeks back, Vice Chairman Neil Kempster wrote in there, and I don't know if you did read his programme notes or not, but he was saying that they're on the final bits of bringing the final stand and sports hub to fruition. Apparently, the government funding has now been provided to the council, and they're working with them to finalise the legal agreements that are needed for the funding to be released to the club. And he was hoping it would be achieved in the next few weeks. So hopefully the club might be very close to getting it if they haven't already. With and they should be in a position to set clearer timescales for the construction and completion of the new stand. So that's quite good news. Hopefully get that final side built and hopefully get a bit of atmosphere that can actually stay within the ground and get a good atmosphere going. What do you reckon, Tom?
Yeah, they teased us, didn't they? They went and tidied up that area the other week. Do you remember? They put like we saw a photo of somebody like a digger there or something like that, weren't they? And all they did was go in there and clear all the rubbish out. And it was like, how soul destroying. And everybody was like, oh, it's happening. And it didn't happen. But we are crying out for this fourth stand, aren't we? To try and get something going in there, like you say. Them away supporters in that corner just getting forgotten about. Really, you can't see them from the end behind the goal. You can hear them obviously, but you can't see them. There's no. People don't realise just how much difference this is going to make, do they? It's going to enclose all the noise to the ground. At the minute, the acoustics of the ground makes it all go in the air, and nowhere. You're shouting at the top of your voice, and it's just going. It's just not being closed in at all. And then twin to the fact that we pitch a lot for the Man v Fat and all the other things as well. And my boy plays obviously for Boston United. And they haven't got changing rooms to get changed into before games and things like this. You know what I mean? They've built a beautiful 3G surface, but they've got no changing rooms. And I think they're looking at like a viewing area for parents and for people to watch the games over as well. So you'll be able to actually stand up, like have a cup of tea and watch the games going on the 3G over the pitch and that. Like sports hall, we mentioned about another bar, I believe, for away fans as well, which is going to be installed into there because Ellen's gets completely rammed on a Saturday, doesn't it? Come 2 o'clock, it's a tough to find a seat. We'll go back to it. The atmosphere. The atmosphere is the number one thing that this new ground needs. It needs an atmosphere. It needs a bit of identity.
Yeah.
We're seeing 90-second minute goals going yesterday. Massive roar. It just goes up in the air and it goes out of the ground. We can contain that noise, and just give that a bit more feeling and buzz. But honestly, it'll be such a boost for everybody, all fans and that lot. And the minute they go and lay a breeze block down there is the minute I believe it will happen. Because like you say, the money's still with the council. Until it's in Boston United's account, it's not happening, is it really?
No. And the money that they're going to make up as well, once the sports hall's built as well. And like you say, the bars in there is open, the money that it's going to make as well from being built is just going to be phenomenal. The club's going to, make make more money up, once it's built and they start using the facilities there. So it's it's going to be, look like an amazing ground. David, what's your opinion?
Yeah, you just touched on it there, the revenue streams that it's going to bring in. Nobody runs a football club at a profit. And if you do, you're some miracle worker. But it's going to make it more sustainable. We have more business, more. And that's a good thing. We don't want to be one of these clubs that are going to be going out of business. So we got lots of revenue streams. You got the kids playing football, the colleges and Ellen's, literally everything. Corporate, watching the games in VIP. Lots of different revenue streams for the football club. And it's good to see that we're sort of expanding a little bit and we're taking advantage of that with the fourth stand being built. I believe there's like a gym or something in there as well, sports hall,
Yeah.
something similar to that. I imagine that can be hired out like the 3G pitch can at the moment. So yeah, it's good to see the club diversifying and trying to be a bit more sustainable. But no, I just can't wait for it to be finished. Whether it's going to be 10 foot higher and people are going to be, reconsidering the design of the stand, I don't know. The foundations in the ground. So sadly, I don't. If you're a believer, they're going to redesign the fourth stand and let the home fans go in it. Sadly, I don't think that's going to happen. But no,
No.
it'll probably be to the away fans only. But Tom talking about atmosphere, fans going at one another again, end to end. It'll be good old fun, and like Tom says, the noise goes straight up into the air. It'll be nice to have a little bit of enclosed noise and actually properly hear each other, because the acoustics aren't very good, and it's probably due to the fact that either you can't really see behind the goal in the north stand, or the roofs are just not that big, and not that long. When we're at Halifax and these big grounds with these big long roofs, it projects the sound onto the pitch because it hits the top and reverberates. But at our ground, when we do get singing, it's not that loud because the acoustics are really poorly designed. And it would just be nice to try and create a little bit more of an atmosphere when you've got fans going at one another. It'll never be the same as York Street. Never, ever, ever, I don't think. Because the design, and that's the mistake that the club have made and will have to look on in the future. But, whether that was their intention to make it being as intimidating as York Street was, you can make an argument we were playing at York Street, we may have got more points because of the way that it's set out, the changing rooms. And you could say that we're nicing teams a bit too much here at Boston United, or whether it was set up to be a place where a community hub with all these new houses built around it, and a place where we can be more sustainable. Probably I'd say it's probably the latter. All these different revenue streams and income streams here to be exploited and capitalized on. I think that's probably one of the driving forces for the ground to actually be made in the first place, because we were renting York Street. So yeah, probably the club moving forward, it will be the right decision, but it'll never be the same as York Street atmosphere wise.
No, I have to agree with you there. And I've got a final question for you. Brad Nicholson's haircut, yes or no, Tom?
Well, I'm going bold on top, mate, so I'm not growing anything like he does, that's for sure. This is the hardest question of the whole podcast. Brad Nicholson's haircut. We're saying no. We're saying no, Brad. No.
No.
Go back to the old school.
I quite like it, to be fair. It's different, innit? It goes well with his style. Whenever he takes a throw in, it just goes over the top of his head.
Yeah.
And we saw that clip, didn't we, on the social media, the Oldham fans? Yeah, it went viral. So he was certainly